my name is Tori and I'm a Winnie the Pooh collector from the UK. Today we are going to be doing a little Q&A. I asked you guys over on Instagram to leave me some questions, so we are going to be going through them today. I can't actually remember if we've ever actually done one on the channel. If we have, it hasn't been for a while, so if you guys do enjoy this sort of video, maybe we can do some more of them, because I do often do Q&As on my Instagram, so if you like them on here, maybe we could transfer them over here more regularly. Also, you will probably be noticing throughout this video, yes, I have got a Christmas phone case on, yes it is July, but my normal phone case broke, and because I'm upgrading my phone in a couple of months, I didn't want to buy a new phone case because I'm gonna get a new phone anyway, and I know I have other cases for this phone, I just couldn't find them. The only case I could find was a Christmas case. So but it's been really hot in the UK at the moment. We've been having a bit of a heat wave, so I'm kind of just using the Christmas case to manifest colder weather. Anyway, I saved all of your questions, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first question just reminded me, I put this story up before I went to Morocco. So this question is based before I got married. So this is my first day back filming as a married woman. That's crazy to start with. But the first question is, I will leave them up here as well. Do you have a detail in your wedding you are most excited about? As I said, I put these questions up before I went and got married, so but to actually answer the question, for starters, I think if you've watched the wedding vlog, if you haven't, I'll leave it linked up above. In there I did explain that we are going to be having multiple weddings. That is 1 out of 3 done. That was our legal wedding. So as for wedding details, there wasn't really much in that. The only planning for that we did was our outfits. So for the next 2 weddings will be more when actually the wedding details come in for all the decorations and things like that. But for this wedding, and I don't think I actually show you it in the vlog, I need to show you it. I do have a short video planned of it, so that will be on my shorts tab. But my wedding shoes, I would go find them, but all my wedding stuff is very neatly packed away, so I don't want to make a mess of it. I will leave a picture here of them. On the bottom of my wedding shoes, I had a little Winnie the Pooh quote that said, "As soon as I met you, I knew an adventure was going to happen," and then it has Pooh on one shoe and Piglet on the other shoe. I've been saving wedding stuff on my Pinterest for absolutely ages, and that came up months ago. I've had that saved on my Pinterest for months, and I went on the Etsy shop. They have so many stickers of so many different love quotes from different Disney movies, just general things like happily ever after. So much stuff on there for you to have a little Disney touch to your wedding. And then so obviously I chose the Winnie the Pooh quote, and then you could choose any colour you wanted. I chose black. I'd probably never choose black as a colour option on anything, but I thought it just would stand out nicer on the bottom of the shoe. And then they also had a black glitter option, so I opted for the black glitter option. I don't really think you can tell it's that glittery, but I can tell it's glittery. I am so happy with them. I was also toying between the idea of white or silver, but I thought for being on the bottom of the shoe, black would probably be more long lasting. So for wedding part 1, I think that was my favourite detail, because it's one of those things that not everyone knew was there. I knew it was there, Salah knew it was there, my parents knew it was there, and now you guys know it's there. It's just a cute little detail on the bottom of your shoe. The pictures on the shop website had it on a stiletto high heel, so depending on your dress you would be able to see it a bit more, whereas my shoes only had a heel that big, because I'm not much of a high heel person, so you couldn't really tell they were there unless you knew they were there. But I think that's a lovely little secret hidden detail. We're running on a bit of a theme now. The next question is, how did you meet your husband to be? Well, not husband to be anymore, he is my husband now. So the story of how we met, I went on a family holiday to Morocco, and okay, well I need to give a bit of a backstory to this before we actually get into it. Every January sort of time, my parents will go on a foreign holiday to get a bit of winter sun. I never usually go on them because beach holidays and poolside holidays just usually aren't my thing. I usually get bored by them, so that I don't usually tag along on them. This would have been about 6 months before the actual holiday. They were thinking about where to go, and originally they were thinking somewhere like Spain, but my dad said they'd been to Spain so many times so they didn't really want to go. But then they looked at Morocco, since it's just that little bit further down from Spain. It's not actually that far, and Morocco is somewhere they'd never been before, Africa was somewhere they'd never been before, so you'd get that winter sun and it was another country ticked off the list. And I don't know how to describe this to you. It's just a really, I don't know, but me and my mum were driving about one day and mum mentioned it to me that Morocco was where they were going to be going on their winter holiday, just to kind of let me know, and I was like, yeah, sure, fine, have fun. But from that minute mum told me they were going to Morocco, I couldn't get Morocco out of my head. There was something in me telling me I needed to go to Morocco. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but I don't know how else to like say it. There was something inside me telling me I needed to go on this holiday to Morocco. So then I approached my parents and said, can I tag along with you? Like, if I pay my own way, can I come to Morocco? And they were like, yeah, of course you can. And then I went on holiday to Morocco. We went to Agadir, obviously, as I think you all know by now. And so we landed there on the Sunday. And what's interesting about the Sunday, why I feel like I need to mention the Sunday in the story, Sundays is Salah's day off. Also, I feel like I've missed out of the story. I'm so bad at storytelling. Salah is a waiter at the hotel, okay? And Sundays is his day off. And that's our first day there. Obviously, we missed breakfast because we landed around just after lunchtime. Now, in this hotel where he worked at the time, he doesn't work at the hotel anymore, the restaurant is like split up into sections and each waiter has their own section. On the Sunday night, which was our first night, his night off, we actually sat in his section. Obviously, we didn't know this at the time, but we sat in his section, which was obviously being covered by a different waiter because it was his day off. And then the next day, we ended up sitting in a different section, which then turned out to just be our section for the rest of the trip. It was just how it worked out to be. So that was Sunday. We sat in his section, which is quite funny when you think about it. Monday, I don't think we saw each other at all in the hotel. Tuesday, we booked, so on the Monday, we went down to the reception where you could book like loads of excursions, and we booked things up for the whole week, so we always had something to do. We booked for Tuesday, so the next day, a day trip to Marrakesh. They only ran these twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we chose to do Tuesday the next day. And this is a proper long day out. Marrakesh is about a 3 to 4 hour drive away from Agadir, especially on a coach. So I think the coach picked us up from the hotel at like literally just after breakfast time. We were the first people in breakfast. I want to say it was like just after 7. I remember getting up really early, like 6, and we went down for breakfast, had a quick breakfast, and then the coach was there. And then the restaurant closed at about 10:30 in the evening, and we made it back to the hotel about 10, just after 10 o'clock. Like, we were the last people in the restaurant. And I remember on the coach trip, the tour guide and the bus driver themselves were really trying to rush, because obviously it wasn't just our hotel, like the coach went around and picked up people from various hotels. They were trying to rush the drop-offs as quickly as they could, because at that time it was the African Football Cup and Morocco was playing that night on the Tuesday night. I can't remember who they were playing against, but Morocco was playing in the Africa Cup. And the tour guide and the bus driver both wanted to get home to watch the game. And our hotel was the first drop off in the morning, which meant we were the last drop off at the end of the day. And yeah, so we were the last ones on and off the coach. And I think it was probably because of this reason. Partly because we were late home and because it was the Morocco playing football. The restaurant was dead. I think it was pretty much just my family in there, and then obviously all of the waiters. And the table we were sat at, there was a big screen by the pool outside where like all the evening entertainments were. That night they were obviously playing the football. Everyone's outside watching the football, and our table was just like sat by the window looking over the pool so you could see the TV screen. And like all the waiters kept coming over like to watch through, you know, while they're working, trying to watch the football. And one of those waiters, can you guess who it was who kept coming over? And what caused us to start talking was you, pretty much. So it's a buffet restaurant. I'd gone up and got my plate of food. I'd sat down and I turned on my camera and I was showing you guys what I was having to eat. Another waiter had taken our drinks order, and Salah was the waiter that came and brought our drinks, and he saw me filming my food, and he like jokingly like waved and said hello, and I was like, wait, no, I'll like turn the camera around and you can actually say hello to the camera. Which that moment, it's in the vlog, my original Morocco vlog, which I'll include up here. You can see that is the moment we first ever met. I can't believe I was caught that on camera. So that is the moment we first actually met. I was vlogging, he wanted to say hello to the vlog, and he said hello to the vlog. So that was the Tuesday. Then the Wednesday, the next day, he kept coming up to find me at the buffet. Like wherever I was at the buffet, he'd always seem to be there. Like if I was on the pastry table, he'd be there like tidying up the pastries. Wherever I was, he was there. I always found myself, like if he wasn't nearby, I'd find myself looking for him, and he'd always like find an excuse to come to our table or walk past our table, and we were always making eye contact with each other, always smiling with each other. And then the Wednesday night when I was at the buffet, he asked me if I had like, he obviously knew I had a YouTube channel because he saw me vlogging, so he asked me for my YouTube name and my Instagram name, and I gave them to him. And then I think I saw the timings, it was like 10 minutes after I gave it to him, he then obviously went back to the staff only bit and added me. And then once the restaurant had closed, he messaged me on Instagram straight away. The Wi-Fi in the hotel was very hit or miss depending on where you were. Our room was like on the edge of a Wi-Fi spot, so it wasn't the strongest. So I didn't see his message until the next day when we were on a stronger internet point. The only places I really got good Wi-Fi was like the pool, the restaurant, and then we went to McDonald's quite a lot to get Wi-Fi. And that's pretty much how the rest of the week went. We were messaging each other on Instagram, and then we'd see each other at the restaurants. He'd always come over to my table, he'd come and find me at the buffet, and yeah, that's that. And I remember on the last night, so this would have been the Saturday night because we then flew home on the Sunday, we went Sunday to Sunday, after we had our meal, we then went and sat outside by the pool. This is me and my family, by the way. We'd always go and sit out by the pool and have drinks at the bar. I always managed to persuade them to sit at a certain spot, which was right outside of his section of the restaurant, and they have like their little booths where like they keep all their cleaning supplies, and so I always had my chair right next to his little booth. And after we'd had our drinks and I managed to wave goodbye to him through the window, and then went back up to the hotel room because we had an early flight the next day, so we needed an early night, I was in a foul mood. I was so grumpy. I didn't obviously admit it at the time, but now looking, actually no, I did admit it to my best friend because I was telling my best friend, I was giving my best friend day by day updates about this. I was like, I've met a boy. I was giving her like day by day updates about this all, and then on the last day I told her like, I'm in a bad mood, and she was like, yeah, it's because you're leaving him. And obviously at this point I had no idea what's gonna happen. I'd met this boy, and why am I getting emotional? I think even if you ask my mum, she can tell you I was in such a bad mood that day. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was ever going to see him again. I thought it was just going to be one of those holiday things, and then, you know, we'd come home and drift apart. Then on the Sunday, I woke up early, went to the airport. He, obviously Sunday's his day off, so he slept in. But then just before I got on the flight, I managed to get some of the airport internet, and he'd sent me a really lovely message about how he'd wait for me to come back to Morocco and we'd see each other again, and he knew in his heart we would see each other again. And then as soon as I landed back in England and I messaged him that I was home safely, he video chatted me straight away. And ever since that day, so that was the Sunday, ever since that day till now, I haven't gone a day without speaking to him, without seeing him. And obviously from looking at that day, I just met him on holiday and now we're married. So yeah, and then we were getting to know each other, and I think it was 2 weeks after I came back from my holiday that he actually asked me to be in a relationship with him. So that is the whole story of how I met my husband. Okay, next question. What almost became your collecting but you chose Pooh? I don't really have an answer for that. I've always been a Winnie the Pooh lover. I've always had Winnie the Pooh stuff for as long as I know. Obviously I am just a general Disney lover in general, so I have got like other subcategories of Disney collecting. I don't think there was like ever a point where something else was going to be my main collection. I think it has always been Winnie the Pooh. There was never like a moment where it was like Pooh or something else. So I don't really have an answer for that question. It's just always been Winnie the Pooh. Although to be fair, I do like collecting a lot of Disney park memorabilia. I have a lot of Disneyland Paris stuff because that is my home park and it has my entire heart. But I wouldn't say there was ever a moment like that was going to be my main collection. It's always been Pooh. It will always be Pooh. Next question is kind of pretty similar following up on that. How did your love for Winnie begin? When I get these type of questions, I always feel bad because I don't have an answer for it. I don't know how my love of Winnie the Pooh began. As I just said, I've always been collecting Winnie the Pooh. Pooh Bear has been in my life, but as long as I can know. I can't remember a like light bulb moment of, oh, Pooh Bear's my favourite character. It's just always been Pooh Bear for me. For as long as I can remember, it's always been Pooh Bear. My very first Pooh, he is sat behind the camera. He very rarely makes appearances online because he's actually older than me. My parents and my brother got him from Disneyland Paris in 1998. I'm 1999. And I can't remember how old I was. I was a little baby. I was a little teeny tiny baby. So he originally belonged to my brother. My brother got him when they went on his first Disneyland Paris trip. And he got this beanie Pooh Bear. And then once I came along, my brother decided to give Pooh Bear to me. And I've had that Pooh Bear ever since. I can't actually sleep without that Pooh Bear. I don't care what you say. Everyone has something like that. Everyone has that thing. their comfort thing. That Pooh Bear is mine. Which is probably another reason why I don't like to share him online, because he's just very personal to me. So I guess you could say that that Pooh Bear is where my love of Winnie the Pooh stemmed from, because he was my comfort bear as a child, like the actual bear. So although I can't give you like a date, time, here, there, why, all of that about how my love of Winnie the Pooh started, that's the only way I can like really pinpoint it, is it's that bear that my brother got from Disneyland Paris in 1998 and then later gave on to me, and then that was always my favourite cuddly toy as a kid, and then I think from that stemmed my love of Winnie the Pooh in general, because that was my comfort bear, so Pooh quickly became my comfort character. I think you might have to get my parents to fact check that. I'm not entirely sure about if that is like entirely true, if I just made that up, but I think that's kind of the gist of how it went. Next question, have you met all of the Winnie the Pooh gang? Yes, I have. So obviously in the Disney parks there are 5 Winnie the Pooh characters you can meet. Obviously Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore and Rabbit. On most of my trips I always try to have a day designated to character meets and park photos, you know, get that content, and then a day for enjoying the park and going on all the rides and stuff. On the character meet day, it mainly is just me focusing on the Winnie the Pooh characters, and then once I've done all the Winnie the Pooh characters, I'll then go off and do the rides. And those 5 characters are always my staple meets every single trip. Rabbit used to be a rare meet at Disneyland Paris, but now he is partnered up with Piglet and he is now a regular meet, which I'm so happy about. But I do believe in the American parks he is still quite a rare meet. So Pooh Bear always meets by himself. He's always the character I always have to meet first because his line is crazy. Tigger and Eeyore are always paired together, and then Rabbit and Piglet are always paired together. So it's not like I have to do 5 individual meet and greets in a day. So they are split up into 3, which makes it a bit more easier. But yeah, I have met all of the Winnie the Pooh characters that are possible to meet, and I meet them every single trip. I have spoke about this before on Instagram, but I really wish Gopher was a meet and greet. It is possible. They have used Gopher in shows before at Disneyland Paris, and they'd be able to use that character in the shows for meet and greets. It would be so fun. Kind of think of like, you know when you meet BB-8 at Walt Disney World and like he's kind of stood on like a little pedestal thing? Think of that, but instead of like a little pedestal, it's a mound of dirt, and Gopher is just coming up out of the pile of dirt and you're like stood next to him. It's possible. They could do it. That would just be so cool. And I mean, and if we're going down that rabbit hole, in the history of Disneyland Paris, they've done a few Winnie the Pooh shows, and so I know backstage somewhere they have got all of the characters, because in the Winnie the Pooh shows they had, as I said, Gopher, they had Kanga, they had Roo, they had Owl. All of the characters are there somewhere in Disneyland Paris, which they could just update the versions of, make them a bit more modern, and those would be some cool rare character meets. But as for the ones that you can currently do, I have done them all. Next question, kind of similar to the one of the Winnie the Pooh question earlier, but what began your love of Disney? I don't really know. Disney has just always been something that has been here in my life. I mean, I think if you want one pinpointed answer, I'd say my parents. I think that's the pinpointed answer. I was always surrounded by Disney growing up. We went to Disneyland Paris every year growing up. I think I was like about 6 months old or 8 months old the first time I went to Disneyland Paris. So I pretty much grew up in Disneyland Paris, if you will, going from being less than a 1-year-old to then going every year. That park has seen me grow up. So although I think the answer to the question of how did my love of Disney begin is my parents, I think the actual thing is just being surrounded by the Disney magic growing up, always going to Disneyland Paris. It's just always been a part of me. It's like I haven't known anything other than Disney, really. Okay, here is a good one that I think we have discussed quite a bit on this channel. What Winnie the Pooh Loungeflies are on your wish list? Now, I'm going to be a bit sneaky with the answer to this question, because out of the bags that have been currently released, I don't really have a wish list of bags, but I more have a wish list of things I want them to make. So it's not like I have like a Grails list of bags that I hope to get in my collection one day. I have a list of bags that I want Loungefly to make, and once they make those bags, I will be buying those bags. If you've been watching me for a while, you know my #1 bag that I want them to make is a rabbit cosplay bag. Loungefly, if for whatever reason you are watching this, please get in contact with me. I have got the perfect idea in my mind that I want to give to you for a rabbit cosplay. We need to make this happen. #2, on a similar note, is an owl cosplay bag. I'm really surprised they haven't done this, because Loungefly a few years ago made a Loungefly bag mystery pin set. All of the pins in there were actual bags, but they'd also included an owl pin bag, and they haven't done an owl bag. So Loungefly obviously has an idea of what they would do for an owl crossbow bag, they just haven't yet actually made one. And my third one that I'll list in this is one that I'm really surprised they haven't done yet. I was so predicting we were going to get this one because I don't know if it was last year or the year before, Loungefly was on the run of releasing cowboy themed bags. They did a Mickey cowboy, a Minnie cowboy, Stitch cowboy, Hello Kitty cowboy. Every character was getting a cowboy bag, and I was just waiting for the Winnie the Pooh cowboy collection that never came. And again, I have some ideas in my mind. Like, I have a visualization of what a Winnie the Pooh cowboy Loungefly bag would look like. So Loungefly, please. Okay, another similar question that we won't do in this video. Can we see your Loungefly collection, please? Obviously, I'm not going to do that in this video because I feel like we're going on long enough, but I have recently done a how I display my Loungefly bags video, and in that you do see my entire collection. So I'll leave that video up above, and at the end of the year, I plan to do a similar video that I did last year, a little Loungefly wrapped of all of the bags I got in the year. And I still have a few more questions on this list, but I am getting cautious about how long this video has been going on for. But for the last question, I think we'll do, who is Salah's favourite Disney character? Now, I don't think he's like got a proper favourite Disney character yet. I don't think he's watched enough Disney movies yet to actually have a favourite character of his own. We have watched quite a few Disney movies together. Actually, his favourite movies to watch are the live action ones. Two of his favourites are the live action Aladdin. That is his all-time favourite that we've watched. And then I think his second favourite one was the live action Mulan. But I think if you were to ask him who his favourite Disney character is, he would probably say Pooh Bear, just because he always says when he sees Pooh Bear it reminds him of me. And I think that has brought us nicely to the end of the video. I still had some more questions from when you guys had asked me that time before I went on holiday, so I do apologise if you had left me a question on that box that I didn't get to answer in this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, do let me know and I can do more of them in the future. Speaking of, if you have a question you would like me to answer in one of these future videos, do follow me on Instagram. I am at Tori in Wonderland, same as on here, same as on TikTok, same as everywhere. So next time I do one of these videos, again, I'll pop a little question box up on my Instagram story and you can ask it there. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It was a little bit different, but I thought it would be fun just to sit down and have a little chat. So if you enjoyed it, please do pop the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more from what, do click subscribe down below. While you're down there, don't forget to ding the notification bell. I mean, you might as well. You're already down there. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!